So with the lawn, we know that it can take 10 to 18 mil, so we don't need to try and cycle and soak that one. So we can say that we're going to water that 2 times a week at 1 hour. Well, that gets us to 22 mil, right? So that's not enough. We need 25 mil for a lawn. This is an industry standard application rate for lawn, 25 mil per week in a normal, not in the blistering hot summer, but a normal Adelaide spring, I guess. So we really need to be doing, if we did 3 waterings, we would be doing, say, 3 45-minute waterings in 1 week. And then the garden, say we wanted to get the same amount of water, we might want to water the garden just once a week. So we're going to set that to water 1 time per week. So who can tell me how long for at 20 mil? If we want 25 mil, say, what's 5 over 1.1 hours or something? 1.15 hours? Hour and 15, we'll say, so 75 minutes for this one. That's probably wrong. I'm gonna get some shit on YouTube about that one, no doubt. And then the trees, we just know we need to do an hour a week. So with the smart controller, we can set all of that information up in the controller, but then we can teach the controller the parameters that it needs to understand for it to change that. So if the controller said, it would know that it's referring to weather stations in the local area, it's referring to the average rainfall and the average, like it actually references weather data for your local area back 30 years, does an average, and then there's an algorithm where it calculates that combined with the actual real time that's happening on your 4 or 5 weather stations that you're referencing, and then it can make adjustments to these schedules. So that's your seasonal adjust. The traditional seasonal adjust, has anyone got any questions about this? That makes sense? So we've gone from, we know how much water our product puts out per hour in mil. We know how much the soil and the garden needs per week in mil. We know how much the soil can take per hour in mil, and then we use all of that data to calculate how many minutes per week each of those areas need to get their total required mil, and then we set it up. Now, the real life situation is going to be that you need to also watch this. Obviously, it's great to be able to set it up, and there's going to be microclimates in your gardens where there's a tree over a lawn and it changes the way the lawn reacts, and you might need to put more water on that station or less water on that station, or increase your watering. So this is a bit of a set it but don't forget it. So that's in spring. Now, as we move into summer, we might go, well, hang on, this water was fine when our ET was 2 mil a day, but we're losing 8 mil or 10 mil a day in the peak of summer. What are we going to do? Now, you could increase the watering times, or you can up your run time, depending on how you guys want to do it. Now, obviously, if the soil profile is such that it can't take a lot of water because the root zones, so you might have a situation where the lawn's quite young and the roots are only 50 or 60 mil down. There's no point going so deep that the water's gone past those roots because it's not doing anything. So this will be a case that you guys will start going, oh, hang on, it's a 1-year-old lawn, or we've actually dug down and checked the root zone using a shovel or a plugger. Let's do 5 times a week for 45 minutes or 5 times a week for 35 minutes rather than increasing that 45 to an hour and a quarter and getting that deep root watering, yeah? So that can either occur using seasonal adjust that is an automatic change in the controller, or if you're going back to the kind of non-Wi-Fi controllers, you can go into the seasonal adjust function and just press it up to 120 or 140% or down to 80 or 70 or 60% in winter, and these times will move up and down. Yeah? So that's water budgeting and seasonal adjust. When there's one thing that I haven't covered around that will help you potentially when you're dealing with the client at the quoting stage is once you understand how many mil of water you're delivering per square meter of area, you can actually calculate the total demand that your client might be, I guess, able to expect per annum or per season or per month, so that they can get a better understanding of how much water they're going to be buying. A lot of times we'll have clients that want to quote on a rainwater tank, and they'll get a 5,000 litre rainwater tank quoted, and the client has this misconception that that's going to water their garden for the whole year. And they've just spent $5,000, they've got a tank and a pump, and they never have to buy water ever again. And the reality is, an average lawn at 25 mil a week, that tank might last 3 watering events and it's empty. So if we have a wet spring, that's fine. But if you have 6 months where it doesn't rain, it's wasting. It's almost not worth putting it in. A lot of the rainwater tank installations that we see, and not where, like, obviously regional areas where you can put 100,000 in, it's a lot different, but you put 1,000 to 5,000 litres in residentially, it's because it makes you feel good, not because it's saving you money, because the actual infrastructure cost is so far, it's going to take you 10 or 20 years to get any return, unless water prices go to $15 or $20 a kilolitre, which I don't know what's going to happen there. So if you can give the client an idea of how much they're going to be spending on irrigation, it will help them obviously make an informed decision. It's further going to separate you from the other tradesperson that's come out and quoted it and just gone, I don't know, like, just stick some sprinklers in and like just turn them on when it looks dry. Like that, this gives you so much more power to go out there and separate you from the rest of the trades, and then be able to, I guess, instill confidence into these clients that you do know what you're talking about and that there's data to back it up. So all the products that we stock, that the Rainbird and the Hunter and the Net FM and the Toro drip tube, they've all got pressure compensation, pressure regulation, or they've matched precipitation, or they've got wind tunnel data where they've tested the sprinklers in simulated situations, so that you come back with the amount of water per minute or the amount of mil per hour that's going to deliver, and therefore it's easy for us to design a system, but it gives you ammunition to go, well, we've actually done the calculations and this is how much you're going to need. If that's a concern to you, maybe we need to reduce the size of the lawn, or maybe we need to use a different variety of lawn. Obviously a ryegrass or a fescue is going to use a lot more water per week than a kikuyu or a couch, depending on where it is.